Tonight's episode of TWITS is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
All right, let's get in fighting shape here. Been a while, but I think I remember how to do this. She said. Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to summer edition of TWITS. Joining me once again from his semi-palatial estate, Circle Vista, Texas, Mr. Mike Paddock. How are you, sir?
Howdy, doing fine down here. How are things up north?
Yeah, we were talking ourselves. We've got back to somewhat Sondo friendly temps in the low 80s, but we were in the 90s there for, I believe, 10 straight days. So,
wow,
not fun. So the northern tier became the southern tier there for a while. So, but have you guys been hitting the 90s?
Texas.
Yeah, pretty much. Kind of like the SFFL, Mike, which is a excellent Texan segue. Mike, we're doing our summer broadcast. So we'll go through a couple of things tonight. We'll go over the big news and notes from the Shuffle. Take a quick look back at 2017, as we did not have a chance to do our recap show yet, and then we'll talk some turkey about the upcoming year. But the big news is our original 8, Mike, is down to a 4-pack now, with Mr. Teisberg and Mr. McEwen deciding that 22 years was enough. So we've lost a couple of original 8 members, which is bit of a bitter pill to swallow. So we're down to myself, Thad, Mr. Hodgson, and Mickey as the 4 remaining original 8 teams.
And the Ruben Drones inside joke is not going to go as far anymore, huh?
I want to say a heartfelt thank you for 22 fun years to Wayne and Evan, and wish them luck in their fantasy football and other endeavors going forward. Gonna send them both invite to the summer meeting here, which I'll make a quick note of while we're on the topic. Looks like July 13th. Mike, we're going to head back to a place you introduced me to. We're going to start over there at Head Flyer.
Oh, nice.
That's the location for the summer meeting. Yeah, I like that. It had 3 nice IPAs, so we're going to start there.
And giant cribbage.
Correct, giant cribbage. Yes, which is always a plus. So with 2 members going out, Mike, we quickly filled those slots. So we're going to be welcoming 2 new members to the SFFL. Our second generation player, Mr. Brett Sonderman, will be joining the league. He's been inquiring about that for several years, and is an extremely knowledgeable football and fantasy expert, both on the hockey and fantasy college and pro football front. So I think he will be a great addition. And then also, Mike, we are introducing Mr. Andy Clough. We'll throw up some pictures here, previously of Brett and now of Andy. I've known Andy for a number of years now. He coached Brett in hockey, and we've been really good friends ever since. So he is going to round out the 10 members of the SFFL. And going forward, Mike, because as Tim Boncher well knows, there can be only one. Cue the video.
There can be only one.
We have already had an Andy in this league. Andy Diamond, the co-writer of the Andy Memorial, or Andy J. Diamond Memorial Confidence Pool. So we're going to be referring to Mr. Clough as AC going forward, nice. Like AC Green. So those are our 2 new members. So very excited. Andy is a computer whiz. He's a fantasy hockey whiz. Knows a ton about sports. So he and Brett will be great additions to the league. So I think we hate to say goodbye to Wayne and Evan, but we've got two really good replacements. So I'm excited for that. So Mike, that takes us to week 1 this upcoming year. We've got some new matchups. We'll put it up on the screen, Mike. We've got the new entries. AC taking on Tim week 1. Mike, you will be taking on the Brettster week 1. We got Brixton matching up with Greg, myself and Thad, and then Mickey and Tom are your week 1 matchups. And then, Mike, we can go ahead and show the conference affiliations here. Jeff, Mickey, Mike, Thad, and Tom will comprise the AFC, and then in the NFC, we have AC, Brett, Brixton, Greg, and Tim. So those are the Shuffle conference lineups and week 1 matchups for 2018. Mike, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, why don't we take a quick look back at the year that was 2017 in the Shuffle, year 22.
Yeah, and sitting across from me on the radio dial here is your 2017 champion. So Jeff with a 16-1 record. Nice work. There's only one person that has a better record than that in league history. That would be Mrs. Kamish.
Yes, I hear about that.
And the playoffs are fairly tight, actually, coming down to the wire there a little bit. 113 points wins it this year. 99 from Tim, 96 from me. And Evan goes out on a high note, making it to the playoffs. 72 points he puts up. Tom Brady and Chris Hogan of the Patriots leading the way for you, even though they lost in the Super Bowl. But since no one picked any Eagles, didn't much matter.
I had one Eagle, and that was a little bit of the difference there. I had Zach Ertz.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so that second half touchdown in the Super Bowl, it was nip-tuck with me and Tim there. It was about a 6-point game, and they reviewed it, and I was really fearful of an overturn there. So thank goodness they got the call right.
Nice. Or got it the way you wanted it, either way.
That would be known as that is the correct proper call, Mike.
Your only loss came in week 9 to Greg, and
Hodgson, I swear he's my new nemesis. I mean, Tom may have to take a back seat because and not only that, he cut my season right in half. So if he had beat me week 15 or week 2, I could have had like a 14-game win streak. But instead, I've only got 2-8. So
yep, and the longest winning streak versus opponent all time actually is Greg over Mickey, and then Greg over me, and then you over Greg. So he turned the tables on you a bit. One of the
things I wanted to point out is, I guess the law of averages maybe, but I had beaten Greg 11 straight times, and the one time I actually really, really want to beat him, I lose 63-37, mind you. So it was a bit of an ass kicking too.
Nice work, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
But it also separates you from the pack as the only five-time Shuffle champion.
One for the thumb.
The trophy stays. Yep, one for the thumb. The trophy stays at the Sonderman household up in Lino Lakes.
That is correct. Well, we've got a couple of news and notes. I just put some stats out there. So now Mickey and I are tied for the most playoff appearances all time at 13.
Oh, there we go.
And I did separate myself a little bit from Thad. So Thad and myself, I have 8 division titles. Thad now has 7, which is 2 clear of anyone else. Points titles, I was able to leap ahead of Mickey by 2 with 6 point titles, or best record titles, excuse me. And then point titles, also sitting at 6 and just ahead of Tim, Thad, and Mickey. So those are the kind of all-time postseason stats for the Shuffle. So why don't we take a quick break here, get a word in from our sponsor, Mike, and then we'll come back with a few of the notable records that were set in 2017, Mike, and then quick retrospective of Wayne and Evan's tenure in the Shuffle.
Nice.
Back after this.
Coach, Coors Light is the world's most refreshing beer. Am I right?
Any doubters there?
No.
Okay, we're on the same page at least on one thing.
Coach, Coors Light in bottles, cans, or kegs, do they all deliver tremendous refreshment?
They all do.
Coach, I like Coors Light poured from a tap. What's that called again?
Who knows what that's called? That's the draft, okay?
Frostbrewed Coors Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Coach, a beer that tastes as cold as the Rockies. Your thoughts?
There's a mountain that can be climbed.
See you at the top, buddy.
All right, welcome back. Mike, one thing I forgot to mention too, we're going to be looking to make some upgrades to our, I wouldn't call them necessarily rule changes, but some of the things like I want to add potentially are expanded free agency beyond Friday, and then potentially changing the latest start time, which right now is Sunday noon, to basically when your players play. So if you have like 2 players on Monday night, you can change them up until kick.
Nice.
So what I'm going to do is before the summer meeting, which is about 5 weeks away, I'm just going to start sending out, once this episode of TWITS comes out and everyone has a chance to watch it, which is basically 30 minutes after release, I will send out some, put up some polls on the SFFL. You'll get an email, and then you can go in and vote on those so we can talk about that at the summer meeting and compile the results. The other unique thing, Mike, this year that we have, first time 2 people leaving at the same time, what I've decided, I've invoked my powers of commissioner, which I rarely like to do, but I'm going to have, at the summer meeting, I'm going to hold an expansion draft.
Ooh.
So in that expansion draft, so basically, you only get to keep 1 keeper, but obviously you want to have as many as possible in case, someone gets traded or hurt in the preseason, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to pile all of Wayne and Evan's keepers into 1, and then we're also going to mix in there the number. So the picks that they were picking were 5 and 7. So we're going to have just a back and forth draft between Brett and Andy where you can choose number 1 pick. Brett might say, okay, I want the 5 pick, or Andy might say, I want, Adam Thielen, and then so on and so forth. We're going to put all that in a mush pile and let them sort it out. That sounds like a very democratic, pragmatic thing to do. So, which is the motto of the SFFL. So, in keeping with that, that's what we're going to have on tap for the summer meeting.
As long as I don't have to protect my players, I'm good to go.
Your players are protected under state and federal and SFFL law. All right, Mike, let's take a look, continue to look back at the weekly records, semi-record setter portion here. We had a few weekly records set, Mike. The commish back in week 12 netted 40 bonus points amongst his players, and that was good for the number 1 ranking all time. Thad, week 15, and we can throw up the box score here, put up 50 points between his running backs. Todd Gurley chipping in with, looks like 32, and Mark Ingram with 18 fantasy points. So that was good for the all-time weekly record in that. And then the Shuffle combined for 110 place kicker points in week 8, which was good enough for the all-time record. So that's every kicker averaging double digits. So that's quite the only the 3rd time over 100 points. So pretty unique. Then in terms of some season records, the commish had 16 wins, which, as you mentioned, trails Mickey for 2nd place. The outgoing Evan Teisberg, 172 place kicking points, which ties the all-time record. Mickey also had that in 2013.
Who did Evan have?
That's a great question. I believe it was Gostkowski. Yeah. And I had a pretty good year with the Rams kicker and the Harrison Butker combo, but apparently I don't even think I cracked the top 10. No, I'm not even in the top 10. So Evan quietly compiled buck 72. Evan and I also combined for 293 points in our 2 meetings last year. So that's an average of about 74 points a team in each meeting. So quite the quite the shootout. That's good for first place all time. And then one last one, the commish managed to cobble together 14 weeks of 50-plus, which has been done, it looks like, about 7 times in the history of the Shuffle. So that's tied, 14 times is tied 7 times for the most weeks with 50-plus points. And then one all-time record that was set, Mike, and you're still going here. 64 weeks in a row now, Mike, you have scored 30 or more points. And the 2 people ahead of you were dead. You got a little ways to go to catch Tim. Tim did it for 98 straight weeks. Whew. So we're looking at maybe a couple years. If you keep up the pace here, you can track down Timmy.
Pressure's
and
on.
then Tom was also in there. He looks like week 12, his streak ended at a cool 50. So those were a few of the records that were set back in 2017. So Mike also wanted to bring up tonight's Northern Edition is brought to you by an oldie but a goodie, Mike. This is Surter's Flame.
Oh, yeah.
A smoked India Pale Ale from the fine folks at Hammerheart. So
Wait, is that still capped, or are you drinking that thing?
Oh, I'm drinking it. So the fine folks at HH were they knew we were doing Twits, and so they wanted to contribute. So either that or I bought it.
Nice.
So yeah, I haven't quite gotten to that level at Hammerheart yet. I'm not Jim Bilby, as Mike has had the pleasure of meeting Jim here the last trip up here. So he's royalty there. I'm still on the outskirts. So, but Mike, that'll kind of wrap up our show here. But I just wanted to take a quick look back at some of the Wayne and Evan highlights from a record book perspective as we say a fond farewell to the dynamic duo. So we can see here, we'll just throw up these screenshots as I go through these real quick, Mike. Evan and Wayne, obviously, 391 Shuffle games over the course of their career, so that's a lot of effort there. They finished, it looks like Wayne ahead of Evan, 178 to 164 in all-time wins. And also Wayne and Evan 1 and 2 in the all-time loss category. Evan leads the way with 26 and Wayne with 211. So a bad year by Mr. Palmer though, and Wayne might be in trouble of losing that spot on the 2 there.
Sure, he wouldn't be too sad about that.
No, absolutely not. We take a look at the highest win percentages all time. Wayne at 458 and Evan at 421, 11th and 12th all time. Evan, however, leaves the Shuffle as the all-time leading place-kicking phenom, 2,962 points. Looks like 8 better than Thad for second place. So Evan's the all-time PK king.
We've always said he can pick a kicker.
Yes, absolutely. And certain running backs from the Cleveland Browns, who shall go nameless. Most defensive points, Wayne leaves as the all-time leader. So 11, 53 points, 11 clear of Mickey. So our defensive kicker leaders all time have left the building. Also Wayne, far and away the largest back-to-back game total ever. A pair of 103s, which 2011, I kind of remember that, but holy crap, that's an impressive feat just to get over 100. But to do it back-to-back weeks is pretty sick. On the flip side, Wayne does leave us as the all-time losing streak leader. Lost 15 games in a row in 1995, our inaugural season. So that's in the Wayback Machine.
The Detroit Lions of the first year of the Shuffle.
Yes. Yeah, won the first 2, I believe, and then lost the next 15. So couldn't get off the schneid until 1996. Which is the story for a lot of us. Most meetings all time, Mike, Tim and Wayne are in the #1 spot, so that's going to stay put at 51. That's the benchmark to shoot for. Thad, Mickey, Tom and Mickey are 3 games behind that, so next year maybe if those matchups work out, depending upon the division. Well, actually, we play everyone twice and then one team once, so that record will go down probably in 2019. And then the highest average points versus another owner, Wayne, in the brief tenure of one Fred Doofenshmirtz, Wayne put up 180 points in 2 meetings to hold the all-time record. So that may be why Fred left. That's a bit of an ass-kicking. And then finally, Mike will throw this up. So this is a look at Evan's opponents that he had a winning record against. So bragging rights go to Evan in the Evan-Wayne matchup. It looks like 22-21. So their series was extremely close. The points 1548 to 1502.
I can never tell those two guys apart.
Yeah, average margin in their game was 1 point. So Evan had a winning or tied record against Amy, Wayne, Bill, Paul, and Brixton. And then on the Wayne side of things, we mentioned the aforementioned Doofenshmirtz, but Wayne leaves with winning records against Tom, Fred, Thad, Tim, Mr. Mike Paddock, and then 19-18. Galley, although Mike does lead the all-time points in that one, 1529 to 1518, but not the win-loss record. And then Wayne was tied with Mr. Brixton there, 1-1. So that will just about do it for the summer edition of TWITS, Mike. So things to take note of. I'm sure you're all taking notes, so I don't really need to do this, but just in case, we got a summer meeting coming up on the 13th. Got some rule changes and augmentations to the site and policy, so we'll be taking some poll votes on that over the course of the next month. And then, most importantly, Mike, our SFFL draft set for the usual last Sunday in August at high 2 p.m. So about 10 weeks, 11 weeks away from draft day. So hope everyone's draft board is well underway. So that will wrap up our summer edition. We'll be back, Mike, week 1 of the Suffle, or as Suffle news warrants, any more mass exodus, that kind of thing. So until then, Mike, if you want to catch this episode or any past episodes of Twitch, you can log in to our YouTube channel as normal, or head on over to vh1classic.com. So for my broadcast partner, Mr. Mike Paddock, we will say goodnight, and we'll talk to everyone week 1 of 2018.
Adios.
Adios.